I think I am with you. I am. Yes, this is Camilla McGill, and I'm just a few minutes early, and I hope that some of you are already with me. So I'm just checking all my things here. Yep. Nope, I'm on air with you now. So if you are a punctual person, do let me know in the chat to your right where you're from. I think I can see your name when you write in the chat box, but I can't. I don't know where you are from in the world. So if somebody wants to just pop something in there, and then I'll see if I can see it. Hold on, I don't know if I need to do, nope, I don't need to do that. Okay, I have an able, trusty assistant near me. Here we go, Susie. She's from Dublin, lovely. Okay, so we've got people coming in and excellent. So I've got a couple more minutes before we start. It's always a lot to prepare when you're coming on, and I've got a lot of people joining tonight, so it's exciting and nerve-wracking, and yeah, lots to do. And also, we all know what tech is like at the moment. Oh, I've got Elsie from South Africa, lovely. It's great when I know from the registration that I've got people from all over the world, but you don't quite know who's going to arrive and when, particularly when you're putting children to bed. That's an unpredictable thing. I don't know if you are on Instagram, but do follow me. I was doing an Instagram live last night, being interviewed by the lovely Carla from a company called Basking Babies, and her little toddler joined us. So it was really sweet, actually, seeing him there. But so tech and children are two things that are unpredictable, and we'll be talking a bit more about that tonight. And yeah, so lots of you here. It's 7:59 here in the UK, so we've got people from two or three from Joburg or South Africa, and that's really lovely. So like I said, just stick where you are from in the chat box, and I can see the chat. I think you can too. So it is 19:59, and you're here here we go. How to succeed with potty training without tears and frustration. And thank you so much for everybody that's joined already. And I suspect that a number of you will join in as I go along. So I'm going to kick off now and introduce myself. So I'm Camilla, and I'm the founder of My Parenting Solutions. I've been a parent educator for 20 years, and I'm absolutely passionate. I feel it's a real privilege to work with parents. I get messages all the time from parents that say, thank you so much. I really loved your advice. What you said made such a difference. And so it's a wonderful role to have, and it's a wonderful job. And I'm also a mother of four. My children, you'll see further on, there's some photographs of them. But everything that I teach parents are things that it's always about stuff that I've been through and tried, and you'll hear again about stuff that I've been through with potty training. But I try things out. I do a massive amount of research, and also I work with a lot of parents. So I'll make suggestions and get feedback from them. But being a mother has a major influence on the work that I do, and I certainly couldn't. I don't feel I could be in parent education without being a parent. And I'm really passionate about potty training. So, and that's why you're here. So here is a message about turning off your distractions. We live in a world with a massive amount of distractions. I know that you can't turn off the children, but you can if they're going to distract you. But you can turn off any alerts and sound on your phone. If you if you're watching on a phone, obviously, just turn off the sound, the alert sound. But if you're on a laptop or an iPad, move your phone away, and take the time for you. You've taken the time to show up, for which I'm really grateful, because I love talking to parents, and just, yeah, take some time out. I hope you've printed out your workbook, because I'll be referring to that and asking you to write down things as we go along. So today you're going to learn the 3 secrets to successful potty training. And I'm going to move on quite fast because there's lots to cover. But I want to know about you and whether this describes you. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to put a 1 or 2 or 3 or a 4 in the chat box to describe whether this if you relate to this. But maybe you feel like you've messed up and perhaps you've barely started. Or maybe you've been going at this for a while and you just don't feel you're making progress. Or maybe your child's regressed. He or she doesn't seem to get it. You may well have a specific problem that you can't solve. You feel like you've tried everything, you're worried, perhaps you think you might have done some damage, or you've just regressed so far you don't know how to bring it back. Or maybe you're just thinking, I haven't started, so help. How do I do this? It's not straightforward. I really want to encourage you to stay to the end, because I'm going to tell you about a brand new bonus I'm bringing out, and I think you'll be interested in. To give you a clue, it's about helping you to deal with tricky children. So separate from potty training, but you'll see at the end. So this is a quick lowdown on my family. As I said earlier, I'm a mother of 4, and I have 2 boys and 2 girls, very conveniently. So the boys came first. There they are down the bottom many years ago, Nico and Felix. And then 2 girls after that, Scarlett and Alice. And here they are on the right, summer holiday this year, actually. We were climbing in the mountains there, and all together. So they now range between 15 and 22, nearly 23, actually. So that's my family, but that's just, I don't need you to know much more about me. I want to know about you. So in the chat box, and I can see all your chats, so your chat box is to your right. Give me a 1 if you might actually write more than one figure. So you might be a 1 and a 2. But anyway, if this describes you, you've barely started and you're having lots of accidents and you're worried maybe that you've done something wrong. So give me a 1 in the chat box if that describes you. Give me a 2 in the chat box if your child is just not making progress. You may have been at this for a long time and you're getting resistance to the potty and it's becoming a battle. So give me a 2 in the chat box if that describes you. So I've got some 1s and some 2s. Excellent. So just a reminder, 1 is if perhaps you're just early stages but you're having lots of accidents. 2 is that you're just not making the progress that you thought you were going to, and your child's resisting and perhaps you're getting into some battles. And give me a 3 if you've got a specific problem. I get huge amounts of messages about people that have problems with a child that holds onto their wee or their poo. They refuse to poo or wee on the potty. It can be getting really, really worrying, quite dangerous, because that's not healthy and you just don't know how to fix it. It can be caused by constipation, or it can just be you don't think they're constipated, but they'll only poo in their pants, or they'll only poo in a nappy, or they hold on to their wee. So perhaps that might be you. So give me a 3 in the chat box if you feel like you've got a very specific problem around pooing and weeing. And give me a 4 if you're one of the ones that haven't started, but you're looking for a roadmap. So that might be you, number 4. I'm just going to take a drink. Okay, great. So we've got a mixture of people, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. Excellent. So this is my story. This is why I got into potty training in the first place. My second son is called Felix. And my first son, and you quite often find this, but not always. So my first son, Nico, was really relatively easy to potty train, and that can happen. But my second son, Felix, was a very different kettle of fish, as they say. So he was a child that was very strong-willed. He had a lot of energy. He was quite impulsive. And his sister had just arrived, Scarlett. And in my wisdom at the time, I thought, oh, okay, I'll take the time to potty train him. She was a couple of weeks old. I was obviously spending a lot of time at home, and I thought, perfect. And from one day to the next, I took his nappies off, and it really did not go well. And time went on while he was having accident after accident. He was hiding to poo. He was pooing at friends' houses. One day I had to go and collect him. My friend had given me an afternoon off with the baby, and she'd taken my boys and they were playing with her boys. And he had a big poo accident, and he was really upset about it. And she had to call me back. And the other kids had been making fun of him, and it was horrible. And we just felt, do you know what? This isn't working. And to be honest, I felt really hopeless. I was working in parent education. I should have been, felt like I should have known what to do. It hadn't been difficult with my first child. And so I just felt really hopeless. And I also felt extremely frustrated. And I don't know about you, if that sounds like you, that you just think, why doesn't he or she get it? So it was just really, really frustrating. And in that frustration, I went about things in the wrong way. I started by using threats. If you don't go and use the potty, then you can't watch your television. I tried bribes with Smarties and stickers, and he'd scream for the sticker. And if he hadn't done anything in the potty, I thought he shouldn't have a sticker. I'm not a fan of them, by the way, now. I'm not a fan of sweets as rewards. I think there's many, many better ways to do it. And yeah, somebody said she's worked in childcare and she thought could do it easily. I was talking to somebody today on Instagram, a lovely mum who's written a book that I'll tell you about. And she also had worked in childcare and found it very difficult with her twins. So I was very frustrated, and he knew it, and he sensed it. And children do sense that when you get frustrated, and it's demoralizing for them. He wasn't happy. We didn't really see it specifically, but he was just being quite even more difficult than he'd been before we started potty training. So what did we do? We decided that what we were doing alone wasn't working, and we got some expert help. So I'm going to show you what we did to solve the problem, and I'm going to come on to talk much more about ways that you can solve your problems or learn how to avoid them. So we got expert help, and the things that helped. Now, this was very, each child is different, but we taught him the science, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. We particularly taught him about the brain-body connection and how linked they are. And how he needed to listen to his body signals. That really, really made a difference to him. We also engaged him in a different way than we had been. We worked together, and we stopped telling him what to do. And children know when we're frustrated, and they can hear the frustration in our voice. And so we just stopped, issuing orders about the potty, and we started to work with him. And it was really huge, the difference that it made. He stopped resisting us. And I'm going to tell you about other parents that had the same experience. And this is why I absolutely love the work that I do, because sometimes we just don't know as parents what the right approach is for our child. But when we changed the approach, he stopped resisting us and he wanted to use the potty. You know, if you're in a difficult position and have been at it for a long time, how fantastic would that be to have your child just want to use the potty? And you might be thinking, Camilla, you haven't seen my child. But believe me, I've worked with enough parents that I know that changing an approach will really make a difference. And you know what happened to him? He became more confident in all his abilities, and he became so much more independent. He was so proud at nursery that he could use the toilet by himself. He was proud that he could go to grandma's house and use the toilet and not have accidents for her to deal with. So it made a really big difference. I want to tell you about Gitty. Having a different approach made a huge difference to her. So she's a young mum of 3 boys. And again, it was a similar thing to me. Her middle boy, her first boy was potty trained quite easily. But the second boy, she'd been going on for 2 months with so much stress around it. And he was just really, really afraid to let go. So he was holding in both wee and poo. And it was just so stressful for them. And through talking to me and getting coaching, and she was on a program that I'm going to tell you about, Potty Success Academy, she got tangible solutions to implement right away. And she just stopped feeling like she messed up so terribly, or having that feeling like it's too late to change things. She felt I had an amazing understanding, and this is through my experience, not just my own, but also of working with others, but of what a mother might be experiencing. And she found that the sympathy and the ability to pinpoint exactly where she'd gone wrong and helped her get back on track if things weren't going well. And he's so happily using the potty now. So it's been, she says, it's just really transformational. And the relief to get the right support and figure it out so that her little boy could happily use the potty. So if you don't feel confident that you're getting anywhere, listen on for ideas about connecting and avoiding the resistance and working in partnership to get the job done. And maybe you need some inspiration for your specific problem. Fear of the potty, won't poo, constant wee, similar to what I've mentioned already. So listen on for inspiration for that. And I will be coming to questions at the end. So I would say save your questions, because otherwise they'll drop right down the chat box. But I have got a point at the end when I'm really happy to take questions from you. So stay with me if you want to successfully potty train with a gentle and mindful approach, and if you're an active and involved parent. I suspect you are, because you're here and you're spending the time. And stay with me if you want to learn more about positively connecting with your child and you want to know how to sort out your problem if you have one. And imagine what it would feel like to really enjoy the process of potty training and feel like you know your child so much better. And imagine this, your child has become so much more confident and cooperative. It's a really massive thing in stage in their development, potty training. It's complicated for them. And as I mentioned already, some children take to it quickly and others really don't. Developmentally, the leap is huge between pre and post potty training. And a child can, when they get it, when they grasp that skill, will so often have a massive surge forwards in their development. And included in that is confidence and the ability to cooperate, because this is about working in partnership, and I'll talk a lot more about that partnership. But and a child that wants to work in partnership is going to be more cooperative with you. And imagine you feel so chilled that you don't even think about potty training anymore. Now, I know as a parent, there are many moments when we don't feel chilled, but if you just imagine that you could feel chilled around potty training, I think that you'd feel like that was something, you know, a weight lifted off your shoulders. That is behind you. So here's the thing. Potty training mindfully, you know, with real kind of thought about you and your child and what's going on, and not, you know, worrying and panicking about the future, because often parents will panic, and actually with that panic comes often using the wrong tactics. They'll often panic because school are putting pressure, or they're starting preschool, or, you know, they feel like they're the only one in their class that isn't trained. So this is about deepening your love and your connection with your child and increasing their self-belief. If you've just joined, I'd love to hear where you're from, and listen on for lots more ideas with potty training. So where are we going with this workshop? People often want to know, okay, so we've done the introduction. I've learned about you. You've understood about the different approaches that I took, and so we're coming on now to secret 1. Then we're going to move to secret 2, secret 3, and then we'll talk about taking it further, if that's something of interest to you, and then questions at the end. So there's your little roadmap. Like I mentioned, I hope you've printed out your workbook, but if you haven't, grab a piece of paper. So here are the 3 secrets to successful potty training. Secret number 1 is figuring out your child. Now, parents of more than one children will know that more than one child will know how different they all are. But again, if you found that one was easy and you've hit problems with the second, you really need to figure out your child, and that isn't in comparison to whoever they're at school with, or your sister's children, or your friend's child. This is about figuring out your child. Now, just a little interesting fact from a survey. So here we go. There's the Baby Centre, which is a great charity which has lots of resources, so you might want to check them out. They asked a cohort of, I think it was 470 or 480 parents how easy they found potty training. Well, 23% of them said that it was easy. 27% of the parents they surveyed said it was a bit of a struggle. A further 20% found it very stressful, and 30% found it almost impossible. So if you're in the bracket of a struggle, stressful, and almost impossible, you're not alone. And I suspect even if you're thinking you might be in the easy bracket, you may not know, because you can't tell how your child is going to be. It's about us and them. So I'm going to show you more about that. It's about adapting the roadmap to suit your child. What works for one won't necessarily work for another. And I teach parents a whole range of skills that they can draw on. I call it like a toolkit. And they can draw on those skills to see how they can adapt it to suit their child. This isn't a one-size-fits-all. And if you're after a one-size-fits-all, then I suspect that I'm not your person, because this is really about understanding the child and adapting the approach to them. So one thing I would say, so this is under secret 1. You might want to make some notes, write this down, because these things are really important. And I go at quite a speed, so it is quite hard to remember. Take the pressure off yourself to get it over and done with. Some children will take longer than others. You will always hear about the ones that are done in a weekend, and others just definitely take longer. But when you take the pressure off yourself, and consequently that takes the pressure off your child, you can be surprised how quick it actually can be. Because I'm going to talk a little further on about meeting resistance with resistance. So take the pressure off yourself. What you can happen when you don't have the right approach is that you can get a resistant child who may be traumatized or refuses to go near the potty. What quite often you start and stop numerous times. Now, I'm not against stopping if you feel like your child just isn't ready. If you're after the signs of readiness, I have a free booklet that you can download if you go to my website, and that tells you some of the sign of readiness. It's not something I cover in this workshop because there's so many other things to talk about. But starting and stopping numerous times because you haven't got the right plan is something that you can avoid. And, you know, if you don't have the right approach, you get far more mess out of the potty than in it, and that causes frustration. So I want to tell you about Chandi. So Chandi was one of the people, she came on a workshop that I did back in, I think it was in March, and she'd failed twice and she really didn't want to fail again. So she went through the training that I'm going to tell you more about at the end, and she made a plan. She didn't rush at it for the third time. She really wanted to make sure that she got things right and engaged her little boy. That's her baby, by the way. That's not the one she was potty training. So actually, by the time she came to approach it the third time with the support of the program, she'd had a baby, but I think he was about 3 or 4 months old by that point. So, and she found amazingly, she was so thrilled that her little boy was potty trained really quickly, and she was just so relieved. So she said she wouldn't hesitate to recommend my methods because she just feels it gives you confidence and it shows you how to get your child on board. So I hope you're going to pick up some tips, and maybe you have already, but one big tip is to stand in your child's shoes. We learn so much about our children when we actually start to really identify that with them. You know, even to the extent of looking at the world from their level, actually crouching down and seeing how they see the world. They have, they are, as I say a lot, they're all very different. But, you know, just think about what's the world like from my child's point of view. And how does your child see you in terms of potty training? You know, what's it actually been like? If you have started and it's not going well, stand in their shoes and think what it's like for them. Have you been nagging them? Have you been sort of forcing them? You know, and this isn't through judgment, but we do things like this because we often don't, you know, we just don't know how to have another approach. And that was me. So stand in their shoes and really understand how the world is for them. And also, this is secret one. What can you observe about your child? What are their likes and their dislikes, their interests and their abilities? We lead very busy lives. We're in, doesn't need to be said, but we're going through very stressful times, and it can often mean that we're just sort of firefighting. But I would just encourage you to really look at your child and observe them. And I often say, you know, put your magnifying glass on. That's why I've got the photograph of that woman there. You know, just think about, because there are ways to engage them that you perhaps might not have thought about when you really understand what their likes and dislikes are. And you know what, you may have a child in terms of using the potty that really likes to be in company, and you've left it in the bathroom because you thought that was a cleaner place to be. So, you know, it might be a question of moving the potty in a more sociable place, or it might be the opposite. What are their interests in general? What games do they love? How physical are they? And also observe what their fears and worries are. And you might say to me, Camilla, I just don't know. You know, my child has a real fear of the potty, and I really don't know where that comes from. It takes quite a lot of skill to really understand, and I can't tell you all the ways to do that in this workshop. But I will say that there will be a cause for their fears and worries, and you need to really observe them. Also be very aware of your own impact. So kids pick up on everything. They are sponges. Now, the good news is they're sponges for the positive. I was talking on Instagram today about a lovely mum who has written a book on potty for children about, it's called Slip and Slide. Anyway, she said when she's more cheerful and sings, it's amazing what she can get her kids to do. So the positive is important. So they pick up on your positivity, and positivity breeds positivity, but they also pick up on your stress, our stress. So, you know, I know that things are difficult, and there are still ways that you can, you know, I teach parents a lot more ways that you can help yourself to be calmer, but you have an enormous impact on your children, both positively and negatively. And I would also say avoid battles and do not meet resistance with resistance. The more you push, the more they will pull away. So you'll hear more as we go on in this workshop about ways to get them connected and ways to problem solve. But this is about figuring out your child. And I can guarantee you that if you have been pushing them, and they will resist you. So don't get into battle with them about it. I always remember talking, well, I've talked to so many parents. It's not just mums. I often say that mums, but it's parents that I talk to who say, you know, we just got into this whole thing of insisting that they sat on the potty, and then, you know, everybody got frustrated when nothing came. It's children, it is the one thing that they can control, that and food. So, you know, they will, if we push it, you know what it's like. If we insist that they eat something, they shut their mouth. If we insist that they use the potty, they will hold it in. So don't have a battle over it. Now, there will be other reasons about fears about holding in, but if you are going into battle over it, you're on a losing battle. So jot in your notebook what you think your child's likes or dislikes are, their interests and their abilities. And also, I'd like you to write a couple of words about how does my child feel about potty training so far? What we want is the ultimate is to get them excited about it, to get them feeling proud of themselves, to get them to want to use the potty, not for the smarty, not because they're frightened of you, but because they actually want to. So how are they feeling about it right now? Because it's possible that if you were one of the ones that was describing the difficulties that you've got into, it's possible that they're not feeling very excited about it. So likes and interests and abilities and how they're feeling about the potty so far. So that will be on page 1 of your workbook. So we have just finished secret 1, which is about figuring out your child. And here we are on to secret 2. Connect with your child. I mentioned at the beginning that this approach is about positively connecting with your child. And it isn't always obvious how you're going to do that. So I've got some ideas for you, which is great. Now, I have talked a lot. So is this making sense to you? I'd love to hear if you just engage with me in the chat box. So if you're thinking, yeah, I get that. Just give me a note, because I want to make sure that I'm making sense. So just if you could stick something in the chat box for me, if it's just like a yes, great. Okay, so I've got lots of people saying yes. So one thing that I'd want to say is don't assume that it's obvious to know what to do. As parents, we are not given the manual for our child, and we are always figuring things out. But it can be really useful to get some expert help. Now, you may not like me as your expert help, in which case I would say, you know what, if you've listened to however long we've been on so far and you just don't like what I've said, then I'd probably say I'm not your woman. But if you like what I've said, I want to, you know, make it clear that it is they don't come with a manual, and it is difficult and not always obvious to know what to do. It really wasn't obvious to Chrissy and Dan. Chrissy and Dan have little Otto. They potty trained their elder child, Livy, very easily without any stress, and that can happen. But with Otto, when I had contact and met Chrissy and Dan, they're in Chicago, I didn't physically meet them. They had been potty training, they were a year into potty training, and little Otto knew that he was the last one in his preschool class. Sorry, my assistant behind me making noise. He knew that he was the last one to be potty trained. And he was really, really miserable about it. But he just, whatever Chrissy and Dan were doing just wasn't working to help him. He had low self-esteem and he was being teased. He was still in a pull-up because the preschool, I think, had insisted that he wear a pull-up because he had so many accidents. And they were at a total loss before they found me, and they felt hopeless. And I really get that. And I was in that position with my son, who's now 20, by the way. And they found that the support was a total godsend. Little Otto is so proud of himself now. He's found a new confidence that he can do hard things and that he's actually capable. They sent me a little video, a little audio of Otto describing how happy he was to finally know when and how to use the potty. And he's like a different child, and they are just so thrilled. So like I said before, some kids just find it harder than others. And that was Otto. So here are 4 great ways. So we're on secret 2, 4 great ways to connect with your child. And I'm just going to take a drink of water. Okay. So number 1, invest in emotional connection with them. Potty training is an emotional experience for a child. Children are driven by their emotions. And, you know, you may say to me, but Camilla, I just cannot work my child out. You can when you've got the tools. And Laura and Russell had found that their daughter was traumatized by their first attempts at potty training. And they just wish they'd got help sooner to avoid months of misery. They wish they had started with the ideas that I gave them rather than going through the trauma, because undoing the damage took a lot of time, but they are luckily now, they're feeling back on track, but they just had to emotionally invest and really kind of stop and understand where her fears were and how to take it step by step to make sure that she was reassured and her fears were understood and allayed. The other thing that number 2 that really works when you connect with your child is engaging them in the science. In the program that I'm going to talk to you about at the end, I have a whole section on engaging children in the science. Children are amazing, even if they're quite young. They absolutely love to know about their body, and you can adapt it to the age. So in fact, that's often a question that comes up is what age do I recommend potty training? I'm all about stage, not age. I do find that if parents want to use the ideas that I talk about, generally it's from about 20 months. And I don't give an upper range. I mean, I would say a nice sweet spot is between the age of 2 and 3. But if you're here and you've got, like Chrissy and Dan had, a 3-year-old who's still not getting it, don't put shame on yourself. Just figure out, you know, you're going to get perhaps, you know, get the support and get the job done. but engaging them in the science can be a really great way of connecting with them. Also, and I recommend this all the time to parents, sometimes it's a question of reeling it back and just do some physical preparation, some practice. Somebody wrote to me the other day and she said her son can get wheeze without pants, but he can't get them when he has got pants on. So I said, do some practice, not when he needs a wee, but do some practice, getting, trousers up, trousers down. So physical practice, washing hands, that kind of thing can just make it fun. And also singing songs is a great way too. I'd like to ask you, when you praise your child, in the chat box, give me some examples of things that you say. So what might you say to praise your child? And if you just stick a couple of it, if you're with me still, what kind of things might you say to praise your child? Okay, I don't know if anyone's written yet. I don't know if I'm supposed to move this chat box. Maybe I need to go the other way. No, I think it's this way. Clever boy, clever girl. Great, give me a high five. Well done. Okay, I want you to really pay attention here. I want you to understand that when you say clever boy or good boy, you're not giving them enough information. So you will raise your child's self-esteem when you are much more descriptive about what they've done. So I'm going to give you an example. So if we come back to the practice example, so say you're wanting your child to practice pulling down their pants and sitting on the potty. Now, you could very easily say, well done, but I'm going to show you something different. So I would recommend that what you say is, you stopped and you put your thumbs in either side of the elastic on your trousers and you pulled them down. You pushed your hands down and you pulled your pants down. And then you went backwards and sat your bottom down on the potty. And now you're sitting on the potty with no pants on. Now that gives them so much more information than good job, well done. And in the program that I teach, I go into detail about how to use descriptive praise. It really raises a child's self-esteem. Look, tone is everything. And if you're saying good job, it's lovely, but you will get much more value and much more impact when you're descriptive. And I'd like to encourage you to praise all their capabilities, not just things that are potty related. So with this little girl, for example, you'd say you're really concentrating on climbing up that ladder. You're holding with your hands and you're gripping on, and you've put your feet in one above the other so you can step. That gives them really good information. Now, I'm reeling this off. It takes a long time to learn this kind of language. So I'm giving you some little examples here. So jot in your workbook now, how could you connect more with your child? What could you do to connect more with them? Maybe it's praising them more. Maybe it's understanding their emotion, investing in putting investment in emotion. Maybe it's doing some practice. So how could you connect more with your child and use your workbook to jot that down? And then I'm going to come on to secret 3. I know I'm going at a real speed, but I want to honor your time here tonight. So secret number 3, focus on problem solving with your child. My approach to potty training is very, very much about getting on side with your child, not about telling them what to do. And when you do that, you get so much more cooperation from them. So if you have a problem with your potty training, think about problem solving with them. Think about, sorry, I'm just going to say something to my able assistant. Hello, hello. Sorry, one sec here. I won't be a second. Sorry. Okay, sorry, I just had to do that. Whoops. Hold on, my microphone's the wrong way up. Okay, so your child knows more than you realize, and figuring things out together can be really, really a really great approach. So, you know, when some children, I think I mentioned it earlier, may be happier to sit on the potty in a sociable place. It may be that they want to see you going to the toilet. You know, I'm just giving a couple of examples. I suspect you've tried, if you're in one of the people that came on in the beginning and said that you, in that position, that you're finding things really difficult. There will be some things that I mentioned that you've tried, but there will be other things that you haven't tried. So figuring things out together. You know, what do they like? Do they like do they like quiet places? Do they like you there? Do they like you singing? Those kind of things. Children know more than you realize about what their likes and dislikes are. And really listen to them. So listen to what they tell you. Now, they will be telling you things verbally and non-verbally. And that's a really important information for you. So, you know, what is that fear about? I've mentioned it already, and you probably do feel a bit confused but there will be a cause. And, you know, why do they refuse? Maybe one of the reasons that they refuse is that they've got what I call FOMO. So, you know, maybe that you're asking them to come and use the potty when they're fearful that a game that they are playing is going to be taken away, or they won't be able to come back to the game. So really listen to what they tell you, both verbally and non-verbally, and they will give you a lot of information. And problem solving together helps you decide what approach to take. And when you do that, you know, children are amazing. You can actually state the problem to them. Here's the problem. When I suggest that you need a wee, you run off. What do you think we can do about that? Now, when you've done that emotional investment, when you've praised them a lot, they will be much more likely to listen to you when you ask them about problem solving. So it's one thing feeds into another. And working FOMO, yeah. Sorry, what does FOMO mean? Fear of missing out. So yeah, so that will often be a cause, that will often be a reason why children refuse to come to the potty, because they think that they're going to miss out on something. They think that you know, the game may not be there. Watch out with screens, because they are so absorbed in the screen. So there's a whole range of different things you can do with screens, but certainly you could tell them that you're going to pause it. But working in partnership takes the stress out of potty training, and I'm all about helping parents find potty training less stressful. So jot in your workbook how you can work in partnership with your child more. What activities or games, there's a little gardening photograph here, you know, maybe you could do some fun activities with them that are about the potty, or maybe not. And also think about problem solving with them. So here is what I've been talking about. I've realized in my slide, I say number one, and number one. It was first secret. Figure out your child, not in comparison to other people's children or another child that you might have, but your child. Connect with your child. We talked about ways to connect using praise and connecting by understanding their emotions. And focus on problem solving with your child, because when you state the problem, very often, especially if you've got that connection, they will come up with some solutions for you. And as I said at the beginning, the potty training mindfully isn't just about getting the job done. It's about deepening your love and your connection with your child and increasing their self-belief. So have you learned something so far? And I hope you have, because I can see that a lot of you have been really engaged. So if you have, I'd love you to just give me a yes in the chat box. And I'm coming on to questions in a short while. So save up some questions for me, but I hope that you have learned something so far. Great. Okay, I've got a lot of yeses. Excellent. And listen, is this you? Do you want to get your child on board for potty training with a gentle, a mindful approach? And if that's you, give me a gentle, stick gentle in the chat box. If you want to get your child on board for potty training problems or just for general potty training, stick gentle in the chat box. I'm making you work a lot. It's hopefully to keep you awake as well. And what if you learnt techniques to positively connect with your child and you got them to be more cooperative? So if that appeals, stick connect in the chat box. And so, yeah, positively connecting with them and helping them be more cooperative. Great. Okay, I've got lots of gentles. I think my chat box is a bit delayed, but I suspect that if you've written gentle, then you'll also write connect. Okay, and what if your child graduated from potty training and you felt like a better parent because of it? And when they do graduate, like I said earlier, the leap in their development, the boost in their esteem, the ability to have mastered a really complex task and be more independent, it's huge for them. We can't underestimate that. Lovely. I've got some loves already in the chat box because, you know, to give that gift to your child of that independence and that rise in self-esteem is really, really big for them. And if your child is one of the ones that has been struggling, it's almost even more, you know, it's such a great thing for them because it's more meaningful because they've had a struggle. And actually, you know, for children to have had a struggle with something and got over that builds their resilience. So it's not a bad thing. So please don't beat yourself up if you have had struggles, because when they get it and they graduate to potty training, from potty training, and to be able to use the toilet or the potty, I talk about potty, you know, I'll answer questions on that at the end, actually. It really can help build their resilience because they've mastered a skill that they found difficult. So please don't beat yourself up if you've had problems. So look, option one right now is that you take what you've learned from me today and you have a go yourself. You probably got some of my free downloads and you take it and see how it goes. But I want to tell you, and I really encourage you to listen up to what I've got to say because it is important. I have a second option for you. And you know what? The roadmap that has been tried and tested by somebody that has experience is generally going to be a better bet for you. You don't have to like me, but I just say that get help with it. So if you are still here with me, then listen to how I could help you. What if I personally help you and your child through the entire process? How would that be for you? So I'm going to show you and tell you how that could be. I have developed, I've mentioned it through the program, and the people that I have talked about, Chandy and Chrissy, and Gitty was the name of the person with the 3 little boys. They have been through Potty Success Academy with their children. It's a 4-step proven system for potty training that I have developed with my 20 years of parenting experience. I work with parents on an enormous amount for potty training, and I'm also a parent educator. So I bring the two together. I don't just give you ideas for potty training. I give you skills for your parenting. But I'm really interested in your child, and I want your child to really be involved in this program. And I'm going to show you how that can be. So step 1 of the 4-step process is about getting centered and getting ready. So this is about getting you and your child in the right mindset and preparing together. And there are lots of different ways. And parents that I've mentioned already will often like just go back, review, get themselves calmer. I've got within Potty Success Academy, I've even recorded a relaxation audio to help reduce your stress. So it's about getting yourself in the right frame of mind and preparing together. And there are lots of really lovely ways that you can prepare. It also takes the pressure off. Step 2, get set. This is about bringing out the scientist in your child. Within the program, there are about 4 different science experiments to do with them that really engage them. And it's about nailing for you how to talk to your child so they'll listen, and listen so they will talk. There's a great book of the same title, and a lot of the ideas I've based from that original book, which I read 23 years ago now. So talking to your child so that they will listen is a fantastic investment. Learning how to do that, I reeled off how to use descriptive praise. It's not easy, but in the program, I've got a load of examples for you to learn and listen to, so you can learn that language and not just nail the potty training, but also nail how to talk. And if you've got other children, they benefit hugely. Parents will often tell me that the benefit from joining Potty Success Academy was enormous because it worked. They learned so much about how to approach their older or their younger child in a different way. Step 3 is get going. So this is about saying finally goodbye to nappies. This is where your child graduates. You get a confident and cooperative child who knows their body and willingly uses the potty. Step 4 is about it's called get problem solving. So, steps 3 and 4 they're not necessarily linear. So this is about extra support, and I have put such a lot of research into this, onto the reasons for regression, the reasons and ways to overcome the problem of constipation and withholding, if that's, or fear of wee and holding in wees. So step 4 is an extra problem solving step. Some parents don't need that, and some parents do. By the end of Potty Success Academy, your child will have graduated with flying colours. They'll have learnt their body signals, and they'll know when and where to use the potty. And they'll be free of their fears and feel happy and confident. It's a really comprehensive program, and they get a graduation certificate. So you know what? It's children love certificates, and this is something that I've just added in because I think it's so important that we acknowledge where they've come from and really give them that sense of satisfaction. They can show their certificate. Now, that doesn't mean to say that they have completely and utterly never going to have an accident again. We can give them more than one certificate. We can give them a certificate for stage 1, which is that they've largely mastered the potty, and then we can move on and give them it for stage 2 or stage 3. But they need the acknowledgement. They need that boost in their esteem. And it has such positive impacts in other areas of their life that you'll notice, just how satisfying that is as a parent, that you've given that to them. You've invested in your child. And this is for you. You'll have learned tools for life, for strong connection and great communication with your child. And you'll have removed the anxiety and just love hanging out with your child. So listen on, because I've got a really interesting bonus as well that I want to tell you about. So I want to just show you a little video. So Femi and Cassie were on my spring Potty Success Academy course, and I'm going to tell you about them. So what Femi and Cassie said.
Yeah, I would really recommend this program. We were sort of probably halfway through the potty training experience. It wasn't quite at the beginning, and we tried all sorts, read up a lot around what should do, shouldn't do, and we got to the point where we were stuck because Caleb, our son, he was doing every 30.
Okay, that the sound went. So I'm going to start my. Are you with me? Sorry about that. I was told that the sound, no sound. I'm really sorry. Oh dear. Okay. Well, we live and learn. Here we go with tech issues again that we all know about. So you didn't hear anything. Well, Femi and Cassie had lots of lovely things to say about Potty Success Academy, but you didn't hear it. So there we go. I appreciate that those of you that are still with me. So you're going to get your roadmap that, you know, and adapting it for your child. I think it might have been because I switched my audio off. Oh God, I've learned from that. Okay, but my audio is back on. So you're going to get the latest research and specific solutions for the issues that I've talked about for fears, withholding, constipation, aggressions, and constant accidents. You'll also get a whole range of the science experiments, the printable resources and guides, both for you and your child. And the whole program would normally be £395. And I'm going to tell you about a really special offer that I have on it. This is Stephanie Oy. She's a GP, and I work with a lot of GPs, actually. A lot of GPs have come on my program. She's a big, she posts a huge amount on Instagram. And she said, although she was is a GP, when it came to potty training, she was clueless. And she felt that she just, didn't know what to do. So it gave her an approach and it gave her confidence, and she hit some problems and it wasn't quite as straightforward as she'd imagined. So she was really glad to have the guidance. I have some bonuses that go with the program. I'm very keen for people to learn about gut health for their children. So I interviewed Zoe Kirby, who gave some fantastic advice on dealing with constipation and gut health. I also have another bonus. I got childcare expertise from a Norland nanny called Hetta Trollope, and another daycare consultant who can tell you about how you get your child to transition to nursery or daycare. So that's the second bonus. And the third bonus is becoming a member of a private Facebook group where I do weekly sessions with Q&A and extra support to make sure that you're on track. We go through the modules and it makes sure that you're on track so that your child is really going to be on that road to graduate and have their potty training nailed and really successfully master that complicated and difficult skill. Now, normally with all those bonuses, the program would be £705. And today I have it at £249, which is, if you're overseas, in dollars, it's about $316 at today's conversion rate. You can split those payments, but I'm also going to tell you about an extra bonus that I think you might be really interested in. So this is messaging within the Facebook group. That was another Dr. Brooke, who's the the OBGYN on Instagram. She got some great support. Her child had the wee issue, holding on wheeze, and she got great support. Here's from Kate, mum of Billy. She was also just didn't know where they were going. He'd made really bad progress. She was getting so stressed and she felt she'd failed Billy. And he is becoming more and more withdrawn and lots of accidents. And when she joined Potty Success Academy, the change she found was instant. Happy child, happy parents. And she says, just go for it, worth every penny. So as I mentioned, your child will get a graduation certificate. You're investing in your child, but to help them learn this complicated skill. And so here's what it looks like. And this in red is a special bonus that I'm only offering to people that have come to the live webinar workshop tonight. So I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. But the program involves the 4 modules: get ready, get set, get going, and get problem solving. The 3 bonuses that I mentioned, including the weekly support in the Facebook group, and this workshop, plus all the printable resources, the science experiments, and booklets for you to use as a sort of crib sheet. So like I said, the full program is £249 or $316, and I have a split payment. You can get that when you go through to the link. So I'm so confident in this program that I offer a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied having gone through the modules, that as long as it's before 14 days, you come to me and tell me why you're not satisfied, and I will give you your money back. So it's very reassuring for you, because it's an investment for you, but to know that if you don't like it and you don't think it's going to work for your child, you can get your money back. So this is what it looks like inside the members area. It's a specific login for you. When you go back to where you were watching the modules, it remembers. You get your own private login with your own password, and you go through the program, which, like I said, with all those modules and all the bonuses and all the resources within it. This is how you enroll. You follow the link, myparentingsolutions.com, join PSA. I'm going to put that up. That's done. So the link is there in your chat box, and that will take you through to investing in purchasing the program, but you can read more about what's involved. So I would really love to invite you. I just think, look, if you are at the stage where you're interested, you've spent this long listening to me, I know that you are a person that thinks I could do with the support, I could do with that hand-holding. I really want my child to graduate. I want to invest in them. I want to get it right for my child. So the membership is lifelong, so you can always come back to it. If you have a second child, you have membership forever. But I mean, let's assume it's not going to be for the rest of your life, but that gives you time. So that's what it looks like to go through and enroll. You put in your card details securely, and you are able to join the program immediately. But I want to tell you about a very special bonus that I'm only offering for people that are on this live workshop tonight. It's an extra workshop about dealing with tantrums and misbehavior. I think that a lot of us find that those are really challenging moments when we just don't know what to do when our child is having a meltdown, they're being really difficult, or they're having a tantrum. And I have put together a workshop that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks for those that join this evening by midnight. And I will be teaching you how to deal with those tricky situations. So that is only for people that join by midnight tonight who have been attended on the live workshop today. But I'm going to come on to your questions. I just want to say, you know, maybe you're thinking, shouldn't I just wait and see if things improve? You'll have seen from the people that I've talked to tonight, so often they don't improve. And you actually can make it worse by letting things go on and on. And then you get stressed and their self-esteem is eroded. So they don't necessarily, you know, very occasionally, but I would say that if you're worried, then I think that you really could do with the support. My child is so stubborn, will it work? Believe me, I know about stubborn children. But the methods and the techniques that are in Potty Success Academy are really fantastic for working with stubborn children. And you can figure out ways to work around them and get them on side. And you'll be amazed by how cooperative they can be. And maybe you feel like you should work this out yourself. You've seen that I've actually already mentioned 3 doctors that have been on the program. And I think their mindset is, you know what, let's learn from another expert. They've studied 7 years in their fields, and perhaps you might think a GP would know, but they don't necessarily know. And also, like I mentioned, when it comes to your child, it's just often so different. So I would say, if you are interested, don't feel like it's like a failure that you should be working this out yourself. Feel like it's a strength. You're doing something for your child. So I would love you to join me. I want to know what's stopping you. And I'm going to come in a second to let you ask me those questions. But think about, you know, what is holding you back. So it's £249 investment. You have you will join the class of autumn 2020. I only release this program 4 times a year. So this is the class that you're going to join, and you're going to have me week by week supporting you along with the rest of the community. You can split the payment to £132 for 2 months. So in dollars, you can see it right there. But I would just love you to join me. You have the protection of the 14-day money-back guarantee, so that might give you that reassurance. And all you need to do is go tonight. In order to get that bonus, you go to myparentingsolutions.com, join PSA. The link is there, and you can listen on because I'm not going away. But you can actually right now you can go and purchase it and still leave the window open for you to come back and ask questions, and that would be really great. Because I would just encourage you, take the action now, because, you know, I say I only open it up 4 times a year, and I'm going to be here with you. And like I said, that's the workshop. There is, if you're interested, a platinum membership. So that gets extra support for me. And when you go to the page, Join PSA, it tells you about how, if you wanted the platinum package, you get coaching, one-to-one video consultations with me plus email support. And some parents find that they really do want that extra bit of support, that extra boost, that extra sort of my mind on your problem solving. So time for your questions. Please fire away. And I'm just going to put back up about the Potty Success Academy. I think that's my last slide. Yeah. So tell me what questions that you've got. Okay. So Blair has got a question. My child withholds poos for days. She isn't constipated. Should I see a doctor about it? She's also very controlling with her food. I'm wondering if the two are linked. Yes, I'd say definitely the two are linked. Blair, I can't tell you one single approach, but I would guarantee you that from Potty Success Academy, you are going to get a whole range. You'll increase your tool belt. I often talk about a tool belt enormously to figure out how you change your approach, and you get your child, consequently, you have a different impact on your child. But if she's not constipated, then you can see the doctor for but the doctors don't generally give you ideas for the psychological side of it, and that's what I'd say was there. So Jill is saying our 2-year-old will pee in the potty or toilet when not wearing an nappy, but when will not use it. He does not consistently let us know when he's done a poo, and very occasionally say he's got a wet nappy. Will he progress naturally, or do we need to be more proactive? I would say you probably need to be more proactive, Gillian. And we just don't know how long these things will go on for. And sometimes they get worse, not better. So I would say get the support. I'd absolutely love you to join me. Some parents get the results fantastically fast. And then what they say to me is, I'm so glad I've got access to the program, because actually, I really love what you're teaching me about how to speak to a child so they'll really listen, and listen so they'll talk to me. So that involves the descriptive praise and a whole section on validating their emotions, which is just so helpful for children, not just about their potty training. So they love the kind of dual aspect of helping their child graduate, but also the program is still there for them to use. Somebody else, he loves to get excited about the fact he's been, but as soon as I put his pants on, he has an accident. Yeah, will be lots of reasons for that, Amanda. It's very hard to say because each child is so different. But I've come across that one before, how to get over the FOMO. There's lots of ways, Susie, to get them involved. On my program, I've got a whole range of resources for you to help get over that FOMO. And one of them is actually learning how to empathize, and the language of showing your child that you really understand them and you're empathetic to them. How should I start Bear Balm and trying to catch them going? Alex, what I recommend is you start from the beginning. So I don't recommend that you just go straight to Bear Balm. There's a lot of preparation involved. So modules 1 and 2 are all about the preparation, and that's about you and your child working together. So that's before you've even taken the nappy off, because what happens when you do that is that they are just so much more likely to go. The nappy taking off removal process is so much more likely to go fast and smoothly when you've done the prep work. 2-year-old tried to potty train twice and failed. Should I attempt to do it together or at sorry, I missed the twin one. Should I try to do them together or not? I would be coaching you on that. It's hard to tell because it just depends on their temperaments. At home, we're having minimal, but nursery and grandparents, a different story. I have a whole section on getting other parents, other people involved in your childcare. In fact, I refer to it, Sophie, throughout the course because it's quite an issue. But actually, you can give them the resources. You can show them the program so that they're much more on board. And it makes everything. It's like what I call singing off the same song sheet, and that will make things go so much more smoothly, even if you've had some hitches. She'll sit on the child, it jumps off as soon as she needs to go. We'll hold on for hours and get distressed. Yeah, Aileen, people come onto the program with that very issue all the time, and there's not one specific solution, but when you get your child, you're enrolling your child in this program. You're there to teach them it, but it's their program, and there will be a way of getting your child to let go of it. And there's a whole range, particularly in Module 4, of ideas to address that. So 3-year-old twins, we've seen that one. Does your program recommend starting from the beginning again or trouble? I would recommend, Blair, that you start from the beginning again, but I'm going to take you through this. So, within the Facebook group, you get a Q&A sessions with me, and we can help to figure that one out. But I usually recommend that rather than just the troubleshooting, it depends where you are, but I usually recommend that you actually do sort of reboot and go back to the beginning and find ways to like I keep saying, to get that child engaged and part of the process, that problem solving with them, connecting with them, figuring them out, and then you would come to the potty training. So somebody's saying she can't hear anything. I think others are hearing. So I think it might be a connection your end. So I'm sorry about that. I don't know what to say, but I think everybody else can hear. So other questions that come up very often is, so what's if I don't like it, what's the refund policy? So it's 14 days. I like you to go through the program so that you can just check that it's really not for you. It's saying just join us today. Yeah, you can. If joining today gives you access to the extra bonus workshop. That's only for people today. But if you want to go away and think about it, that's fine. This will be open for the next 10 days, and then I close. You'll get some emails about it. But if you decide you just want to get started, you join today, and then you get access to the extra workshop. So I think if I sign up for the program, we start the work, even though they're at nursery 4 days. Yeah, no, that's fine, Anna. I've got lots of suggestions about how to liaise with nursery. Sometimes I'll suggest taking a couple of 2-3 days off if you can, but I've got lots of ways. And again, in the support group, the Facebook sessions, I can answer more questions on that. Is it okay to start with the toilet first rather than the potty? I would say that I prefer starting with the potty. You can children can get fearful of a toilet. It depends how big they are. And some children will be fine, but particularly with poos, they will often get quite scared, and you can kind of get set back a bit if you go straight to the toilet. Other questions? Please keep your questions coming because I'm here. I'm not going to go away. But I've got some questions that I was actually asked before. So I'm going to, will I have access to your help if I get stuck? Yes, you will. I do, like I say, I do weekly sessions. I'm also answering questions that are posted in the Facebook group. I'm very much there. I want your child to graduate. I want to get you over the finish line. I want you to make sure that you have solved your problems. Sometimes I did mention the Platinum program, which is a couple of slides back. Yeah, sometimes parents want to go straight for the Platinum support because they feel like the problem is so entrenched. They would just like extra help from me. But if that isn't for you, then you will get access to me through the sessions and also through the Facebook group. How long should I expect it to take? I'm not about quick fixes. So it's very much dependent on your child. But what I will say is that when you've done the preparation work and kind of gone back over and got your child putting on his science lab coat or her science lab coat, got them involved in that kind of thing, it really does speed up the process. And if you are, you've hit problems and you engage in this different way of approaching them, you can sometimes be amazed how fast it is. Take Kate and Ollie, parents of Billy. It was super fast for them once they just changed their approach and taken the pressure off, but got that tool bag and really just understood how best to address it. But I would really love you, if you're still with me, do consider joining tonight to get that extra bonus of the tantrums workshop, because tantrums, misbehavior, tricky situations with children. I've got a lot to impart and I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited to offer it to you, included in the cost of Potty Success Academy. What other questions do I often get? Yes, I've got another question that I'm asked a lot is he won't go to potty when I tell him, or she, and then she promptly has accidents afterwards. There isn't one specific solution for that, but there are loads of different ways that you can approach it. And when I mentioned before about teaching my son about the brain-body connection, that can be part of it, because sometimes they just haven't understood what body signals they're getting. And I have in module 2, there's a whole load of information about teaching your child the science of their body and how it works and the connection between their brain and their body, and the specific way of explaining to them how it all works. And once they get that, that's when they are just so much more, they want to go to the potty, not because they're going to get a sticker, not because you've just insisted and they are sort of following that instruction, but because they've felt that they need to go. And that is often such a game changer for parents. Anna's saying, my daughter had some of her bowel removed at 7 days, so I don't think she has a long-term problem, but will the program support that? Anna, I will give you extra support. If there's something that we need to work on for your daughter because of that issue, then I will give you extra support. But there's some fantastic information about nutrition. There's some really useful, there's a whole new whole booklet on particularly helping to deal with any bowel issues. And if there's any extra research that I need to do, I would give you that extra help. Going to the toilet just in case or before going out, an unhealthy habit? Actually, Gillian, no, I don't think it is. I'm going to come to Christina's got a question now. I'll come to that. It can be a good part of your routine. I don't think that's unhealthy, but if they are telling you they've had a try and they really don't need to go, then don't insist on it. But I do sometimes recommend that as part of your routine, that before we go out, we go to the toilet and wash our hands, and then that's all of us, including you. So that can be a good thing. Christina Begill, is the program very different to your potty preparation plan? Christina, it builds on the potty preparation plan, and I'll email you because you get an extra discount because you're a potty preparation plan member. For those of you that don't know, potty preparation plan is a short program that's designed for people that want to prepare their child, but it doesn't go further than that. It's just the preparation stage. But this goes much further, Christina, and it tells you exactly how to go for it. The get set and the go modules are all included that don't get talked about at all in the potty preparation plan. But you get a discount because you're a member, and I'll email you separately about that. Any other questions while I'm still here? I'm totally happy to take more questions. It's a complex business, and I'm sure you've got things that you wanted to ask me about. I'm just rolling back through the questions just to see in case I haven't answered them. I think I've answered them. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So Christina, you'd like to join the program? Fabulous. I'm so excited to have you on board. And because you want to join tonight, I will email you with a code to get your discount because you're a Potty Preparation Plan member, but that will mean that you'll get the workshop. How much is the Platinum package? I'll just go back to that, Sophie. Actually, if you go to join PSA, it'll tell you it's £450, and that can also be done in 2 split payments. But that gets you access to me and that extra support, and it explains when you go through to that link. It explains how that works. But I'd be delighted to have you on the Platinum package if that's something that's of interest to you. Anybody else got any questions? So I'm just trying to think of some really commonly asked questions. Oh yeah, my child hides to poo is one that comes up a lot. There'll be different reasons for that. You know, I've said all along, each child is so different, but that within the program are lots and lots of different ways to address it. It can be the need for privacy. It can be because they haven't been understood their body signals in time. It can be partly to do with constipation. It can be lots of different reasons, and it also can just be that they haven't understood the science. And when they're much more engaged in the science, they are much less likely to go and hide. And also it's about their esteem, because when a child really realizes that they can do it and they've produced something on the potty and you've made a big deal of it, not that I'm saying you haven't tried that, but it's a kind of combination of things. And it's also about a change in your approach. And, you know, there's a reason why you're here tonight. You haven't put your child on the webinar, is because changing your approach and helping them through their graduation can really make a huge difference to how the whole process goes. I'm in. Do I just sign up to the link to get the behavior bonus package? Yes, so it's tracked. Anybody who's signed up tonight, you're on a tag, so we know that means that you get the extra behavior bonus package. So that is great. I'm really happy to have you on board, Anna, and I think that Christina is joining too, and perhaps Sophie. So there were, I haven't actually checked because I think others have just gone through to the link rather than listening right to the end, because I've been on an awfully long time here. Unless you have any other questions, and I'm very happy to stay on. I'm also very happy to answer questions on an email. Once, you know, I'm so committed to helping people with this. If you, you know, if you've joined and you've got some extra questions for me, please send me an email. Please also follow me on Instagram if you aren't already, because I post about all kinds of different things, not just parenting. So it's, unless there's anything else, I think there was somebody who mentioned, was it, yes, it was Anna. So I would definitely give you some extra support about your child having had that operation, or just, you know, help to figure things out with you, just to make sure that everything's safe for her. So I think that there are a few people still on the line, but I don't know whether they wanted to ask any questions. But a huge thank you for people that have joined me and stayed on this long. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here tonight. I hope that you've gained from listening to my workshop and participating. I am doing another one. If you've got a friend that wants to join in, I will offer anyone that comes live to Sunday, I will offer the same bonus. So it's about being live on the workshop, and I can track that. So that extra behavior what do they call it? Behavior modification. No, there's another word for it. Anyway, it's tired and I'm kind of losing my words, but about dealing with tricky behavior. So behavior management, that's the one word I was looking for. So I'll be really thrilled to have you on that. And it's just thank you so much for your participation. What I will do is I will take myself off camera. Unless you have another question right now, I'm going to sit here for a little bit. I'll leave the link up, and I will, yes, and if a question pops up, then I'll pop back on and I'll answer it. But thank you so much for being with me. It looks like somebody might have just joined, I don't know. But if you have questions, do stick them in the chat box. And I will be very, very happy to answer them. But I'm just going to sit here without my video and leave that link for you and leave the chat box up.